Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Studios here, and welcome to my final movie review, or should I say, reviews of 2022. So, yes, I've seen a couple of 2022 movies that I missed out on in my vacation in Hong Kong, but now that I've returned back home to my country, I can like actually talk about these movies as a normal video. Now, during my vacation, I reviewed two movies that I saw in theaters and did like and recorded a review out of them, which were Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and The Fablemans. But this time around, this video is actually inspired by Jay Vaders and Austin Putnam and Ryan O'Toole. What they do with with these quick reviews is that they just review movies they missed out on reviewing and movies that they catched up on, and they just pretty much share their quick thoughts about as initial review. That's what I'll be doing. I got 7 movies in here. Most of them I don't have much to say about it. So of course I'll get to this as brief as possible, and I'll be able to share you guys my thoughts on each of these films. Now, how I arrange these movies in order, it's gonna be in the how I watched them. Like I watch them first. If I watch this movie first, then this movie will be the first movie I review, and if I watch this movie last, then it'll be the last movie I review. So anyway, let's make this quick. I have to go somewhere. As I'm recording this, I have to go to a Christmas party after like recording this. But by the time I upload this video, I'm not. That was yesterday when I recorded this, by the way. So yeah, let's get this done. Starting with Christmas Story Christmas. This is basically a legacy sequel to an 80s film, um, to an 80s movie, like an 80s Christmas movie, which that movie was recommended to me by Nick Hicks 2001, and it was a really great film. But this is a sequel we're talking about here. I didn't really know this sequel actually existed until how do I say this? Until well, I heard that there's a trailer for it because Nick Hicks has one that made a post saying like, "Oh, there's a new Christmas Story, Christmas trailer." I was like, "Really a sequel? Okay, it looked fine, I guess." Looking at the trailer, and this movie was actually solid. It was decent at best. I don't remember much from it. Um, like, but I know Christmas Story. It's like essentially like a movie sitcom, so there's not much. Like, it's just a bunch of situations and stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, not much to say about it. Like, but I'm still like want to share my quick thoughts. So this movie is basically about Ralphie being a dad and showing his life as a dad and his kids. Yeah, I like the characters in this movie. I think the characters are what like carry this film. Ralphie is a really well written. Like he's a dad now, so this movie pretty much is grown up Ralphie. Grown up Ralphie. And but I think it's his family that kind of stands out. You know, like his wife and kids that pretty much steal the show of this movie. It's a pretty funny movie. Yeah, it does maintain that charm of the first movie, so that's there. And however, the story, I think this movie may go down as something forgettable. I can't remember what happened anymore. The story's not that good. I didn't care for the story that much. Some of the jokes missed the mark for me, and yeah, there's definitely miss. As a legacy sequel, this movie is missing something. I'm a huge sucker for legacy sequels. I mean, Cobra Kai. Even if it's a series, it's a legacy sequel to a Karate Kid, and you probably know how much I adore Cobra Kai. And then you got Top Gun Maverick, which is the best legacy sequel movie. Um, yeah, this is probably one of the weaker ones. Yeah, even Matrix Resurrections is a better legacy sequel than this, but yeah. Christmas Story Christmas, I wouldn't watch this again, but it's good. So a low 7 out of 10, low tier. Okay, so the next movie we're going to be reviewing is Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery. I just want to start by saying that I am a massive fan of the first Knives Out movie. Yeah, Knives Out is in my top 15 favorite movies of all time. In my top 3 of 2019, aka the best year ever. Like, no competition. When it comes to Knives Out, the sequel, um, it, 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 we Knives Out would have been better off as standalone, but at the same time, I think we definitely deserve more adventures with Benoit Blanc, doing like solving more different kinds of mysteries, with different kinds of like big casts. Um, yeah, Glass Onion had it's a smaller budget film. Like it's kind of a shame that it didn't get a worldwide release. It didn't even get a release in my area. I could have saw it in theaters, but it's just it's just crap that it just didn't get a theatrical release worldwide. If I was the U.S., then yes, I would absolutely watch the movie in theaters. But no, I'm not in the U.S., so it sucks. Um, I've heard people say that this movie was better than the first film. The first was actually hard to top. I actually didn't really believe that this would be better than the first because the first film is just something special. Um, I could review the first film in the future, but yeah, just the movie is amazing. Glass Onion is not as good as the first film. I will say that. I think the first film is superior. Uh, However, I will say that this is a perfect sequel to the first. This is a perfect though and a worthy successor to the original film. This as a sequel, this movie absolutely works so well. Everything you love about the first film is actually in this. Yeah. Ryan Johnson's pretty much a highly misunderstood director. Like people hate him just because he directed Last Jedi. I've heard people continue to like hate on these nice old films just because it's directed by the guy who made The Last Jedi. And oh, I'm outside by the way. You can probably hear the host. I'm actually outside by the way. But yeah, I'm tired of the Ryan Johnson hate. Just watch it. Can you all just watch these movies in an open mind? Stop thinking about oh, I hate this movie. I can't like this movie because this man ruined Star Wars. No, he didn't ruin Star Wars. But yeah, um, I mean, Ryan Johnson's a brilliant at showing this is brilliant, clever writing. Um, the movie's better looking despite a lower budget. I mean, maybe it's because it was movie has rich characters who are like rich, so they live in a rich house, and like the tech guy played the Edward Norton's character, Miles Brown, is actually rich, so it makes sense for this movie to be better looking because we're seeing a rich house here, um, and I actually like Benoit Blanc here better in the first film because in the first film, we only know Benoit Blanc as the world's greatest detective, and yeah, this one we actually get to see Benoit's personal life, the beginning of the film, we saw him like actually in his house, like we know that he's obsessed with bathtubs, and he's actually gay. He has a boyfriend named Hugh, played by Hugh Larry, um, and although we didn't really see much of him, we only know that he has a boyfriend. I mean, it was actually said in articles in Red, but they didn't really show his gayness. But maybe National Three. Um, I like Janelle Monae being the new Marta Cabrera. It kind of works well. Um, Even though I think she's not really my favorite character, she's like top three. I would say top five. My favorite character actually has to be Madeline Klein's Whiskey. Yeah, she is damn hot, and I think she's very charming. She's actually one of the Stranger Things actresses. In fact, I actually like her here better than she was in Stranger Things. But to be fair, Madeline Klein's character in Stranger Things is actually one of the weaker Stranger Things characters. Probably the weakest of the female characters besides Angela. Angela sucks. But yeah. And this actually had a better antagonist than the first film, with Chris Evans, Ransom. This one, I won't spoil who it is. I saw it coming. I actually knew this guy was the antagonist, but I think they did a better job here than the first film. And I've heard people criticize the climax for being way too over the top and cartoony, but I think the climax was the best part, which is insane. Oh yeah, and this movie is funnier as well. So it may have done some things better than the first film, but I think the first film is better. But Last Onion is a worthy and perfect sequel. Yeah, Ryan Johnson is just an amazing director. Glass Onion, 10 out of 10. Okay, so the next film on the list I'm going to talk about is RRR. Now, if you haven't heard of this film, RRR is an Indian action movie. Now, I have seen some Indian movies. I've seen Three Idiots, and I've seen the other guy the director of Three Idiots made in school, but I forgot the title, and I don't care because that movie was boring. The movie I watched in school was so boring. Um, I also saw Slumdog Millionaire, the Indian Best Picture winner. And speaking of Indian Best Picture winner, my parents actually wanted us to win Best Picture. This is actually my parents' favorite film of the year so far. They say, "Oh, this should win Best Picture. This is so good." Well, I can see that comic. I can see that personally, considering that Slumdog Millionaire won Best Picture. Yeah. So Aura is actually a kind of like a political movie, but it's more of an action movie, and it pretty much combines different genres like action. It's a revenge story, and it's a musical as well. Yeah. Um, I gotta say it now, RRR is a freaking masterpiece. This movie is so good, man. Now, what actually made me watch this is that I heard that this movie was a blockbuster, and I literally like watch anything that's not has the word blockbuster in it. And a lot of critics, future critics I follow, like Chris Tuckman, Jeremy Jans, Zach Pope, others, they were requested to watch this movie, and they were all blown away by it. Like how amazing, how much they love this one, and I was blown away too. Now, I said that this was in my top 10 favorite movies of 2022. Like I can't have this thought, but the more I think about it, nah, it's not my top 10. I think there are better movies this year. My one nitpick I had is that the characters do take a while. It does take you a while to get into these characters. But when you do actually get into these characters, you actually care about them. You actually care for these characters, and yeah, um, yeah, for these characters. But the story is very complex. Not everyone will get it. Like especially it depends on the kind of things you have. But it's a very deep and complex story about revenge, and and very political as well, and seeing like how India was colonized by the British, and it's a brilliant story, by the way, a very well written, clever story. But the best, like the technical aspects, really stand out for me. The directing, the cinematography, just all excellent. And this has the probably one of the most killer soundtrack of the year. Either this Babylon or Way of Water have like the best soundtrack. Considering this is a musical, they do such a good job with the musical aspects. Like I can't believe that they combined my two favorite genres into one movie. Like the even the dance numbers are absolutely insane. But it's pretty much your typical Indian movie, so they definitely included that. But the reason to love this movie and the reason to watch this movie is because of the action. Some of the best action of the year. Like choreograph wise, this is probably like the best action of the year. Like every single action scene is just done to perfection. Like sure, it's over the top and cheesy, but that's the whole point. Don't expect India to have to use a higher budget high of a budget as like your Hollywood movies or something. This movie has some of the best choreographed action I've seen all year. Just, I could literally watch these action scenes over and over again. This movie is 3 hours long, but it's non-stop action. Like it never stops, and you really and you don't feel the runtime. It doesn't feel like 3 hours because of how good the action is. So, if you're an action movie fan, you really need to check this one out. Even if you're a musical fan, definitely give it a try as well. Yeah. Also, yeah, you guys say in the comments, oh, but RRR is not my cup of tea, it's Indian. Well, screw that, man. Just give us a try. This can probably get you into the foreign language, film. If you want to start watching a foreign language film, definitely start with this one. Like, because again, this movie is an action movie fans' dream come true. So yeah, with that said, I'm gonna give RRR a 10 out of 10. So the next movie I'm talking about is Spirited. So Spirited is essentially this year's Christmas movie. We had two like legit Christmas movies. I don't like three. This is the second Christmas movie I reviewed. Yeah, I know Spirited this movie got like kind of a mixed review. Still like at least it got a passable rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but in its 60s. But I've heard people say either they love it or they think it's just meh. Thankfully, Rachel's reviews put this in her favorite movies of the year. That's definitely what this said. Um, and I gotta tell you, Spirited is really underrated, man. Like, like this movie is better than what everyone says it is. This movie is so good, man. Like I love this movie. Like my parents love it too. Um, yes, I don't have much to say about Spirited. As you all know, I'm not a fan of Christmas movies, so especially when it comes to family Christmas movies. This is a family movie, but somehow it's PG-13, and I think it's the PG-13 movies that makes this work. I'm a huge diehard sucker for musicals. You don't know that, and as a musical, this movie absolutely works. Like this movie is very magical and charming. Like this movie has so much charm to it. Um, Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, like both of them, um, they gave really like spot on chemistry. Um, Ryan Reynolds is the obvious standard here. Right, he's my favorite comedian, and his comedy in this movie does not disappoint one bit. In fact, surprisingly enough, Ryan Reynolds is actually a really good singer. Like he actually does have a surprisingly good singing voice. Like I know my brothers are like, nah, Ryan Reynolds doesn't have a good singing voice. He can't sing. Nah. Well, to me, Ryan Reynolds actually has a really underrated singing voice, and he deserves more musicals. What I think Will Ferrell is the best singer, undeniably the best singer. The story is essentially a Christmas Carol storyline, but out of all the Christmas Carol movies I see, this is probably my favorite of them all. Um, my favorite of these Christmas Carol storylines, like the best Christmas Carol movie. It's done in a way that's just so clever. It pretty much pokes fun at the Christmas Carol, yet it doesn't better than most other Christmas Carol movies I've seen. Um, and it's very like heartwarming as well. There's so much heart to it. Uh, and yeah, I love the content. However, the one negative I have with this movie is Octavia Spencer. Like the Will Ferrell and Octavia Spencer romance subplot is just kind of bad. Like it's just there. Like I don't know why. Like I don't feel the chemistry. And Octavia Spencer is a horrible singer. Like any song that has her in it are pretty bad, honestly, because she's so out of tune and it's pretty obvious. Like it's so obvious. So yeah. Although despite me not liking Octavia Spencer's character, this movie is just really good. It's just so damn good. Okay, this is probably my second favorite Christmas movie of the year. Valentine is still the best Christmas movie easily of 2022. And I actually put this as an honorable mention to my top 10 favorite Christmas movies of all time. Like one of my honorable mentions. Like maybe number 11. So yeah, please go check out Spirited. It's better than the reviews say it is. I think this is a really underrated film. 9 out of 10. Okay, so Christmas Bloody Christmas is the next movie. So Christmas Bloody Christmas is essentially a Christmas movie. Another one, a Christmas movie, but this is essentially a low budget Christmas movie. So well, this movie is gonna be it's gonna obviously look cheap and stuff. You know, this movie is essentially a horror movie about Santa, a robot Santa being a killer, like pretty much like Halloween, but on Christmas. That's the best way I can describe it. It's cheap, um, it's cheap looking, horrible directing, but like awful looking. But however, I like this movie though because you watch this movie, you know that this movie is gonna be very cheesy, and you know sometimes cheesy can be good. You're going in expecting a very cheesy horror movie. You're going into this movie for the kills. Anything you watch this movie for, absolutely delivered. Don't go into this expecting good storytelling or like good directing and cinematography. Just this movie is just made to make you have fun. That's the whole point of the movie. Just for you to have fun. But it's not like I don't know if I'll remember this movie. I don't know if I'll be able to remember this movie. Uh, it's not great in any way, but it's just a fun time. Not much else to say about it. 7 out of 10. Recommended for like some goofiness and kills. Okay, so shit. Sorry about that. Motorcycle just. Okay, so two more to go. Marcel the Shell with the Shoes on this next one. I I know this movie. I was actually really excited to watch this one because this. I mean, y'all know that I have a love and hate relationship for animation. And I was actually down for an A24 animated film. I was like excited to see like how A24 could make their animated movies. Unfortunately, I was highly disappointed with this movie. This might have to be like probably the most overrated movie I've seen this year. Like one of the most like top five, I guess, most overrated. This might be the most disappointing movie I've seen this year. I'm sorry, but I don't get the hype for this film. Like, it's not that good. I'm sorry. This movie is so boring. Like, I thought this got a lot of charm to it, but this movie is basically just a mockumentary of this shell that basically like looks at how a shell looks at life, and I don't get this concept. This is a weird, bizarre concept, and like the movie just most of the time you just see Marcel just staring at things, and it's just boring. I don't like it when A24 movies just basically it's just about making your characters just stare, and and then you have these old there's like a metaphor and meaning to these characters stare. This is actually why I hated A Ghost Story and why I hated First Reform, because these movies are just watching your characters stare at something and just not doing anything. Now, I would say this is a well-made film. The directing is on point. I think Jenny Slate does a really great job of voicing Marcel. Probably her best performance since Bellwether from Zootopia. Well, no, wait, don't tell me like it's her best performance. I think Bellwether from Zootopia is still her best role to date. And the last few minutes are actually really good. Like when it comes to like when you get to like the human part, like actually showing the humans, like taking care of Marcel, working with Marcel, that's a really great part. Like it's a super well made film. I can't say I hate this movie because it's just so well made. There's no denying that. But I was super disappointed with this film. I wanted to love it, but like this could have been like right up there with Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio as one of the greatest anime films of the year, like up there. But it just sagged down. I'm sorry, guys, but to me this is the most overrated anime film of the year, and Marshall the Shell with the Shoes on. It's passable, but yeah, 6 out of 10. Sorry. All right, people. Now we're gonna get into the last film, um, Babylon. This is actually my favorite of these movie reviews I made. I'll do a ranking of these movies down in the comments, but yeah, I was hyped for Babylon when I saw the trailer. Like no, this is gonna be an excess drug trip, raunchy. I'm a huge diehard fan of Damien Chazelle, Whiplash, La La Land, and the underrated First Man. But Babylon, now I wouldn't say it's up there as some of the best Damien Chazelle movies. It is better than First Man, but not as good as Yarta. Like, yeah, I don't know how, like the critics acted so negative towards it. This movie had a massive mixed reviews with a 55%. Even the audience score is harsh. In fact, even harsher than the critics. Yeah, but I don't get the hate for this movie. This movie is actually really underrated. Yeah, I love this movie. It's so good, man. Um, this this movie is another one of those love letters to Hollywood. I think the reason why people hate this, based on what I read, is because they're getting tired of of Hollywood just doing these love letters to Hollywood. But I think this is one of the better ones. I mean, I actually enjoyed this more than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like this movie is just this movie is a lot of fun. Like this movie is essentially a raunchy comedy with like great comedy to it, like great excess drug chips type. This movie is insane, and I love it for that. And I mean, and this movie has some really great performances from Brad Pitt, Tommy Maguire, Diego Calva as the lead, and the lady, the Chinese lady. I forgot her name. Doesn't get like, but her character name is Lady Zaval, like something like that. But but Margot Robbie's performance is probably the best thing I've seen like in this film. Like she steals the entire film, especially like any scenes with her in it. Like it's the best scene. Like this might be Margot Robbie's best performance, and I am a huge Margot Robbie fan. This might be her best performance yet. Like she could actually win the Oscars for Best Actress. I could actually see that coming. Yeah, but she's definitely the best character. Her character. Oh yeah. Also, I gotta give credit to Samara Weaving as well. This is also my favorite Samara Weaving performance, in my opinion. Oh, and yeah, this movie has a really great story. Just a great, a perfect love letter to Hollywood. And oh yeah, also this has the best score of the year in my opinion. The Voodoo Mama score, with the trumpets, like this might be Justin Hurwitz's the best score of the year. And after getting brutally snubbed for a score in First Man, this could actually be Justin Hurwitz's comeback to the Oscars and could actually win best original score. So yeah, overall, I love Babylon. It's in my top 10 of the year and easily my favorite of these movie reviews I've done. So yeah, I'll do a more broad review. I might do a more detailed review of this when I see it when I rewatch it for the second time. And yeah, oh yeah, by the way, I watched the movie online. I didn't see it in theaters because I only watch this for because so I can like actually just like for the Frozen Awards 2023 I can nominate this and I can actually be able to share my thoughts. I'll watch it in theaters on February. I'll review all Damien Chazelle movies leading out to this, and I'll do a more proper review of this after I see it in theaters. So yeah, don't judge me for watching this online. Don't worry, I will see it in theaters. I had a good excuse to watch this because so I could like get this movie recognition in the Frozen Award and talk about this movie, maybe in my top 10 of the year. But yeah, Babylon's a masterpiece. I give Babylon a 10 out of 10. So that's all for my quick movie reviews. I had a lot of fun talking about these movies. What are your opinion on these movies? And out of all the movies you've seen, which one of these is your favorite? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for more views to come, like more end of the year videos. I'll be doing best shows of the year, and a Cobra Kai video. So yeah, bye guys.